tales of triumph and tragedy. Inspirational stories filled with perseverance and passion. This is From the Sidelines with Scott Stewart.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Scott Stewart with IdahoSports.com, and this is our first of many broadcasts of interviews with unique Idaho athletes and their families. Today we have Iradukunda, Emery, an all-star athlete from Twin Falls, Idaho. We're really excited to have him here today. We'll also be joining him is his parents, as you can see there. And we also are going to have a couple of guests in Emery's life. So let's start. Welcome, Emery. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, we're so excited to start this with you. You've got such an incredible story, and we're so happy that your parents are with us today. So let's start out. Emery, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why would we want you to come on this broadcast, our first broadcast with IdahoSports.com?
I think my story is kind of different, unique, because I came from a different country, and I didn't start.
Where did you come from?
I came from Tanzania.
Tanzania. Okay, tell us a little bit about that. How long did you live there, and when did you come over here?
I lived there for about 5 years before we moved. So
5 years. That's fantastic. And what was that like for you? Do you remember, what are some of the things that you remember the most about Tanzania?
I really don't remember much, because I'm still so young.
You were 5. I mean, really.
Yeah. But all I remember is just moving here, and there's a whole new different thing. It's try getting used to it.
Okay. And what do you think you had to get used to? As a 5-year-old, was it the playground? Was it a different type of soccer ball or football? What were some of the things that you had to get used to that you can remember?
Well, my first thing was just trying to get comfortable with everybody around me, and trying to learn the language a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you think the main differences that you remember from coming here and what it was like back in Africa?
What do you think?
Snow.
Snow? Yeah, snow probably.
Snow would be a big point, yeah.
Yeah, we got here around the winter time.
So you came when you were 5, is that right? You were 5, and then did anybody else come with you at that time? Was it you and your parents and anybody else?
Yeah, me, my parents, my brother, and my sister.
Your brother and your sister. And how old were they when they came over?
My sister was how old?
2
years old.
2 years old. Okay.
I was 8.
It was 8.
Yeah, 8 years old.
8 years old. Oh, that's fantastic. So they probably don't remember much either.
No.
Probably not much at all. That's great. So let's talk to your parents. Now Emery, introduce us to your parents. What are their names, and especially how would I say it? Because I'll butcher it for sure.
So my mom's name is Shakajumwami Aline.
Okay. I will not try to attempt that one, but it's a beautiful name.
All right. And then my dad's name is Charles Sindahibura.
Charles Sindahibura. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now, tell me a little bit about your names. So how do you want to be talked? Do we want to go with Charles and how do we want to do that?
Just go with Charles and Eileen, I think. That'd be
Charles and Eileen. Okay. So Charles and Eileen, let's talk to you a little bit. I'm excited to hear. You obviously remember a lot about Africa and where you live. So we do have a map. Tell us a little bit about where you came from in Tanzania. What part of the country?
We came from Tanzania. Tanzania is one of East Africa country.
Okay.
It's an English-speaking country.
Okay.
We were in Tanzania, Kigoma region, in the refugee camp named Muyovozi.
And what was life like for you growing up, for you and your wife growing up in that part of the world?
It was, I would say, was very challenging because we lived in there as refugees, and most of the time we were required to stay in the camp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was that when you were a little boy up to now, or was that only when you and your wife were married?
Oh, just when we were married, because
I see. Okay, so you're in a refugee camp as married, and that's when you came over. Is that correct?
right.
Okay. So as a little boy, what is life like there? Were you playing soccer? I know soccer's big in Africa. Were you playing soccer? Is this where Emery gets his love of sports?
Exactly. I played soccer when I was like just 8 to 10 years old. I enjoyed playing soccer a lot.
Okay, you played soccer a lot then.
Yeah.
Nice. And what about your wife? Where did she grow up near you?
Uh, she's here. She can talk herself.
Eileen, did you grow up near your husband, or were you a long ways away?
We were same camp in Tanzania.
Where were you
Okay.
born?
We born, our original country is Burundi.
It's in Burundi. Okay.
We came here from Tanzania as a refugee.
As a refugee. Okay. And Charles, is it, when you were growing up, what were some of the things that you would do on a day-to-day basis?
I was most of the time I was going to school.
Okay. So a lot of school, a lot of friends, a lot of playing.
Yes.
Okay. So very similar to maybe what Emery's going through as far as social life. Maybe a little, obviously a little different because it's in the States, but very similar to playing with friends and playing soccer or sports after school, those type of things.
Right.
Okay. That's pretty fun. So tell me, when you got to the refugee camp, how long were you in that refugee camp?
I got in Tanzania Muyovozi refugee camp in Kigoma, Kasulu district in 1996 till 2008. It's about 12 years.
So you were in that camp for 12 years.
Right.
And what was camp like? Were you able to work? Were you able to make a living? What was that like?
So actually in the refugee camp, we had no jobs, but we did organize ourselves and create schools, education, and we teach our children. And we were able to teach our children in the refugee camp.
That's amazing. So there's really no structure in these camps, but you organized with other parents and other families to start a camp, a school up, or to teach these families. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Wow. That's really special and very different than anything that us in America go through. I can't even imagine what that would be like, but the fact that you were resourceful enough to be able to do that and put that together. Now, I think we have a picture of your family, and is this in the refugee camp?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, in this picture, where are you, Emery?
I'm I'm like, you know, that little kid in the pinstripe shirt? I'm right behind him.
Right behind him. Okay. So you've got your dad's
Yeah.
shirt on, it looks like.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Now, Charles, can you tell me who of these others are in this picture? Is this family? Is this friends, neighbors?
No, those are my brothers and their wives and children.
Brothers and their wives. And are any of them here in the States?
No.
No, they didn't get the opportunity to come over.
And where are they? Are they still in a refugee camp, or are they back in Tanzania still?
They were finally required to go back to in Burundi.
Okay. And they still there at this time?
They're still there.
Okay. So tell me, what was it like for you and Alina to come to the States? I mean, was it quite a culture shock? And did all of your family come at once? Were you able to all come at the same time?
My wife and the children came at the same time, but I think through our immigration interview process, we were able to make it to come together.
That's really special, because that's not normal, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That's really special that you were able to all come at the same time. We've heard horror stories of people coming over without their families and having to stay here for 5, even 10 years before their families can come. And I mean, can you imagine what that might look like? You know, let's say you brought just one person over, and maybe just Emery came, and you guys had to stay behind. I mean, that would be a fully different life, correct?
That's correct.
Very, very interesting. And how long did it take you to get used to being in Twin Falls, Idaho?
I think we were able to adjust very fast because we came in winter time. It was kind of challenging because
So you went from what, 90 degrees to 20 degrees?
Was,
is that?
And we were not used to.
Yeah.
So Africa is kind of hot, and it was very sudden shock.
Yeah.
Climate change. So, but we were able to adjust slowly. About 6 months, I think.
6 months.
Yeah.
And did you have a job when you came over, or did you have to really search for one out?
When I came over, I didn't get a job, but the CSI Refugee Center helped us. I went through a staffing agency.
Okay. Staffing agency.
Yes, and I worked. I remember starting we came in January 2008.
Whew, the worst time of the month to come to Idaho.
Yes. And
Wow.
I started working as a temporary employee in March.
Okay. So fairly quickly. And what year was that?
That was 2008.
2008. Okay. And Charles, what do you do now?
So now I'm going to school, and I'm working night time to be able to take care of myself and my family.
Nighttime.
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, you're going to school for a doctorate degree. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That blows my mind. That's amazing. That is just so exciting that you're doing that. And what's your doctorate going to be in?
Doctor of Education in Organizational Leadership with emphasis in healthcare administration.
Say that one more time. A little louder.
Doctor of Education in Organizational Leadership. with emphasis in healthcare administration.
So working in a hospital.
Right.
Wow. That is amazing. Now, if I remember correctly, Emery told me that you also speak a number of different languages. How many languages do you speak fluently?
I speak 5 French.
5 languages.
Yes.
Which ones?
French, Swahili, Kirundi, Kinyarwanda, and English.
That's amazing. Amazing. And which one are you most fluent in?
Oh, I would say all of them because I'm using them.
You use the French one then quite often.
Yeah, I went to school in the system. We have to speak French, and if we have to teach in French.
Okay. And Eileen, what about you? Do you speak 6 languages just to beat your husband?
No,
I mean, you guys are a competitive family, I assume, with Emery being in sports, but do you speak, how many languages do you speak?
I speak Kirundi, Swahili, and English.
Wow. That's fantastic. I mean, that's really fantastic. Now, around the house, when Emery gets in trouble, what language do you go to?
My language,
Kirundi.
both English and my language.
English in your language. Whatever he can understand at that moment.
Yeah.
Tone of voice goes a long ways too. Can we count that as a separate language as well? Well, that's fantastic. Now, Eileen, what is it that you do? You work as well, correct?
Yes, I work.
And where do you work?
Chobani,
Chobani. Okay. That's and how long have you worked for Chobani?
7 years.
7 years. You guys are hard workers. That's amazing. You've got a husband that's getting a doctorate. I can't even imagine going back to school for a doctorate. But you're also raising how many children?
6.
Wow, 6 children. I got 5 and I can't keep up. 6 would just bowl me over. That's amazing. So you got 6 children. And what are their ages?
21, 18, 15, 10, 6, 4.
Wow, that's very impressive. And do you keep up with them all, or do they just exhaust you at the end of the day?
You know, you have a fight.
They're exhausting. That's for sure. Oh, that's amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about Emery and some of the things that he's accomplished. What do you think sets Emery apart in his school or in his life that has got him to the point of where he is today? And that could be for Charles or Eileen. What do you guys think?
I think Emery, first, he's a talented child because when he came in, he learned very fast English, and he was able to do a good job at elementary school. And now I think he's doing good at high school.
He's doing fantastic. I mean, he's like you. I mean, overachieving in everything that he does. I mean, it's pretty fun to watch, for sure. What have you, as parents, enjoyed the most about watching Emery grow?
He's a good kid, first of all.
So he respects his parents, his elders.
He listens, yeah.
Good.
And he has good grades.
That's important. Yes.
He tried to stay out in trouble.
We like to hear that. That's good.
What I like too, yeah.
What about you, Charles? I know a father-son relationship is always a little bit crazy at times. What have you enjoyed about Emery as he's grown up in your family?
I really appreciate him. He's a good listener. Yeah, and he's doing his best to stay away from troubles.
And that's important to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Why is that so important to you? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it because of the sacrifices that you've made as parents?
Sure, and that's the key, I think, to any success.
I agree.
Yeah. And it would help him to proceed and become whoever he's planning to become.
What would you say your main goal is for Emery as he goes in and grows into adulthood?
My main goal is for Emery to become a successful children, go to school, finish with his higher education, and get a good job, and he might be able to support his family and his relatives.
That's fantastic. And is that a part of the culture that you came from, the hard work, the schooling, to be something more? Is that part of where you came from originally?
Sure. I have siblings. They went to school and they were very successful with their school, unless of civil war that stopped them to continue with their education.
And we luckily don't have that here. That's really great. Well, anything else that you'd like to share about Emery, Eileen or Charles? Anything else that you'd like to share that we just need to know about Emery?
Oh, Emery likes sports, and I think it's a good idea, and this should be a good way to proceed with his education and stay out of troubles.
That's great. Eileen, anything that you'd like to say?
I think Charles already said most of it all.
I like it. You guys are great. What a fun family. And you guys clearly love Emery, want the best for him. And the fun thing about seeing these type of things is Emery truly is a byproduct of his environment and what you have created coming from what you came from, and being able to see him grow and thrive in this environment has got to be a very proud moment for both of you.
Yes.
That's exciting. All right, Emery, let's talk a little bit more about you. You're probably wondering, I thought this was about me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are a teenager. It is about you. I've got teenagers, so I get it. So tell me, Emery, you came over at 5. Did you get onto sports? Hey, look at that. That's awesome. Look at that face. Oh, how do you not love that guy? Wow. So tell me, Emery, did you get right into sports? Was that something that you were just drawn to almost immediately when you got over here?
I feel like when I got into middle school, that's when I started, like, I saw a bunch of people playing sports and I was like, that looks fun. I want to try that out. And then I met one of my best friends, Brody.
Brody? Okay.
Wilson, yeah.
Okay.
I met him at Robert Stewart, and then he told me to come try out football because I was running around with him and playing with him. So I went and tried that out, and then I just started enjoying it.
And what age were you then when you started playing football?
I was about, 7th grade, I'd probably be, 12?
Okay.
Or 12, yeah.
Now, Eileen, and Charles, not to go back too far, but when he started playing football, was that a concern? Was that an excitement? Did you think that it would lead to what he's able to do now?
I I honestly say it was a good idea for me because most of the time I enjoy playing with them around the house, exercising. So make me happy.
Got him out of the house then. I like that. I like that. Do you feel that you had to sacrifice a lot of your time so that Emery could be as successful in his sports as he's been?
Sure, because he's spending a lot of time with his practices. So, and he might be helping his family with different stuff.
And was that difficult if there wasn't going to be a payoff to it, such as a scholarship or going to school? Was it difficult when, he's in, let's say, middle school and he's spending a lot of time doing these sports? Was that difficult to continue to support, or was it just natural?
You know, we working. We have 6 children, so and we're paying. What we need to pay: utilities, house rent, and stuff. It's kind of challenging.
I can imagine. I think that's a big piece and something here at IdahoSports.com that we really want to start looking at later on is how much parents really do sacrifice to get their kids to where they are to be successful. And because no matter how much drive and talent these high school students have, if the parents aren't behind them, it's really difficult for them to be successful. And so when we see parents such as Charles and Eileen, it really becomes a big story to us, because we know that success is very important to them and to the student athlete as well. So we really appreciate that. So when you were playing football, when did you recognize that this could be something, Emery, when did you recognize this could be something that I want to do for quite a long time and even possibly play college doing it?
I'd say after the first season, like in 7th grade, like after we were done, I enjoyed it so much. I just wanted to keep on doing it and hanging around with my friends. It was just great bonds and keep on going.
Did it become a passion, or did it become a social outlet, or maybe a little bit of both?
It was a little bit of both for me.
Yeah. And when did you have to kind of choose, absolutely, this is the place I want to go? Or meaning, when did you have to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and really put a lot of thought and energy, more than maybe you wanted to? When did that happen?
I'd say probably 8th grade year. I was like, I wanted to become, because like when I first started playing, I wasn't the best. I wasn't like talented as all the other kids that were out there. So I was like, I want to be better than the kid next to me. So I just kept working and working until now.
That's fantastic. So once you hit high school, were you playing all three? Because right now you're doing track, playing football, and basketball. Were you playing all 3 sports when you first hit high school then?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about your football career. What position have you played, or do you play right now?
I played receiver and defensive back.
And defensive back. Okay. And which one do you like the best?
I like defense because I like tackling people and hitting people, but I was better at receiver, so.
I like it. And did you play varsity all 4 years?
I played varsity my last 2 years, but sophomore year I played in the varsity playoff game because one of the starters got hurt.
Okay.
So first experience of varsity was my sophomore year.
Sophomore year. That's that's really great. And then as we switch into basketball, how long have you played basketball?
I also started playing basketball in 7th grade too.
7th grade as well. Okay, so 7th grade was really the kind of the pinnacle of everything that you're doing right now. All three sports is 7th grade. Okay. And tell me a little bit about basketball. I know before you've told me that basketball is one of your favorites, if not your favorite sport. What kind of drew you to basketball?
So going back on is Brody. So he played basketball as well. So I just wanted to play whatever he played because he became my best friend so quick, you know.
I love it. Yeah.
And then basketball, though, I wasn't the best at it when I first started because I've never picked up a basketball before. So I just went and tried out, and they liked me because I was fast and I could play defense.
Nice.
And so went up from there.
And what position do you play in basketball?
I played the point guard or the shooting guard.
Point guard and shooting guard. Okay. And then once you hit high school, how many years did you play varsity?
I played 2 years varsity.
2 years varsity. Okay. Now we've got a coach that you have really taken on as a mentor, and his name is James Glenn. Coach Glenn.
Hi.
There he is. Coach, good to see you. I'm glad that you could make it.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Emery, he mentioned and really wanted you to be on this because of the influence that you've had on his life. Let's talk about you a little bit, Coach Glenn. Where are you from? Are you from the Twin Falls area originally? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's almost as far as Tanzania. I mean, that's almost as far.
It feels like it. Yes, it does.
Tell me what brought you. I mean, how you grew up in North Carolina? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Grew up in North Carolina most of my life. Met my wife in North Carolina. She's actually from Idaho. So
what was she doing in North Carolina? What's an Idaho girl doing in North Carolina?
she was a traveling nurse.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I had just gotten out of the military. I was a medic in the military, and I was working at the hospital. So we met at the hospital, and then started dating and got married shortly thereafter. And then that's now we've been married 31 years now. So
31 years.
yeah.
So how does a medic in North Carolina make it all the way back to Idaho? Other than I can kind of guess the girl probably wanted to come back to her hometown. Am I guessing correctly?
Yes, you are guessing correctly. It was an unfortunate event. Her mother got diagnosed with cancer, and she wanted to be closer to her mom. And it was terminal cancer. And we decided to move here the plan was to move here for a short while and go back to North Carolina. But we came here, take care of her mom until she passed, and then I told her, I said, look, let's just make a go of it. Let's just stay here. I didn't want to move twice, so I decided to stay here. Yeah.
Now you've said to me before you actually live on a farm.
When we first moved here, her mother owned, I think it was 340 acres of land.
Oh, that's it? Nah,
it was a lot of work. So we stayed there, and then I got, and then we left, we sold that, and then now I'm on a little 5-acre farm kind of with animals and stuff like that as well. So it's still hard work, but and I'm a city boy doing farmhand work, so it's not fun.
Because you in Carolina, you didn't grow up on any land, is that right?
No, I did not. I was just a city boy. I didn't when you come out here and you can see over the next horizon. I had to get used to all of that. I got lost actually because every corner looks the same. So it was tough for me to acclimate moving here.
What would you say for you growing up where you grew up? What would you say is the main difference to what, let's say, where Emery grew up, or and that differences, and what's that made you like today?
Oh, that's a very good question. Again, just like Emery's parents and Emery themselves, you have to acclimate to your environment, and it was very difficult moving from city where I was from to agricultural and farmland here. So it was had to getting used to the traffic with the heavy equipment and stuff like that, the smells.
The dairies. Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of the stuff you don't experience back in the city. Whereas the city was noisy, loud, sirens all the time. It was, now it's peaceful here. It's very peaceful. Yeah.
What you played ball for quite a number of years, is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you play as a child?
Yes, I was introduced to sports at a very young age. My parents, like Emery's parents, worked all the time. So in our community, it was coaches and stuff that that I spent more of my time with. Whether it was football, basketball, baseball. So I got into those type of activities and was mentored by so many different people that other than my parents. So that's kind of what molded me.
And what was that like? I mean, obviously you came from what city did you grow up in?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Winston-Salem, so fairly large.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like for you? Was having a mentor important to you? Was playing sports important to you to stay out of, as we talked with Charles, staying out of trouble?
Yes, it was essential. Because you have to. If you don't get into sports or you don't have mentors, then you have idle time on your hands, and then you start hanging out with the wrong groups and the wrong people who have different motives and staying in trouble. And sports was a way for me to get out of that. But even though with sports, you still have to listen to that feeling in your gut and your stomach when you're about to get into something that may affect you for the rest of your life, and you got to listen to that and make the right decisions.
So tell me, how long have you moved over here? How long?
I've lived here in Idaho now. This will be my 9th year.
9th year. So you moved over here about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been coaching sports? Or basketball in particular?
Basketball in particular, as long as my wife and I have been married. This is my 31st year.
31st year. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier in a call together, where you talked about the differences in I shouldn't say kids, but athletes here comparative to the East Coast, and really the differences in coaching. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, my kids, Emery's part of that group too. They ask me all the time, how would our basketball team fare against a basketball team in North Carolina, and it would be no contest.
So tell me, so enlighten us on why an East Coast team is so much better than what we have here. Because I can look at Emery and he's probably going, "There's no way anybody's going to beat me."
Yeah.
What would be the difference?
Well, the difference is, and it took me a while to realize this, but the difference is the amount of people, the population. It's the population. The culture of sports here is different than back east, and it creates a very different atmosphere. Whereas, North Carolina, I could easily have 3, maybe 4 Division I basketball players on a team. Whereas, here in Idaho, you don't see that many Division I basketball players here. There's so much more parity here in Idaho, and it's actually tougher to coach here in Idaho than it is in North Carolina.
Okay, that's breaking news. We might have to break and go to the news channel. Tell me, why would you say that it's harder to coach a team that's got more parity than, say, someone with a lot of personalities that are all vying for maybe 2 or 3 spots on a D1 college team?
Yeah, in the difference is I could spread the floor, and I've had so many different players. I had kids that were 6'7", 6'10". You could spread the floor, and those kids could, nobody could stop them. So I said, hey, let's just go to him every time and see what happens, and nobody could stop him. Whereas here, there's so much more parity. Everybody's on or about the same skill level. You may have 1 or 2, different athletes that may be a cut above, but for the most part, you have to develop some schemes and picks and rolls and stuff like that to get to generate the kind of offense you need to produce scoring. So, it's a little bit more difficult here. You have to a little bit more focused and dialed in here as a coach.
I like that. I mean,
I
so
like
you
it too.
should be ready for D1 coaching once you leave Twin Falls. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not going to climb that tree. No, I'm not.
Oh, well, tell me a little bit about your experience with Emery. So he talked about earlier that he played. He didn't get on to varsity until his junior year, and played junior and senior year. What was your experience with Emery, and maybe what was it like to coach someone like him that with the background that he's come from?
Well, the intriguing part about Emery is, gosh, he's like a sponge. He's still learning. So when he came to Twin, when I watched him at Twin when he first came there, he was, like I said, he's a sponge. So he's soaking up as much as he can to get to that level where he wanted to be. So he was continuously learning, and that's a skill that most coaches would just die for, a kid that just wants to learn and get better. And like I said, Emery is an exception to the rule only because of his athleticism and his strength. What I mean by that is his athleticism and his strength superseded his ability to think and move around on a basketball field. So his body was ready, his mind wasn't ready. But so our job was to get those two things to work together. And once he started, getting it, I mean, I told him there's going to be a point where the game was going to actually slow down for you, that you're going to see things develop before you can get to that point. And he started doing that and started being productive. I'm a defensive coach, so I like Emery's defense more than anything.
Emery, do you remember a game or a time that happened where the game seemed to be in slow motion, or the court seemed to be about 5 feet long and you could do pretty much whatever you wanted?
I'd say our playing game for like the state tournament to see if we were done or not. I feel like that was probably the game that I felt like that.
And has that happened on the football field? Has that something that you noticed there as well?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, let's see. There's a few like close games that we had that I just felt like I could take over and like just give me the ball. I want the ball. Like my junior year last year, there was a game up in Pocatello. Well, like the last drive, I just got the ball like 6 times in a row, and I just like keep feeding me, keep getting me the ball, and
that's got to be an awesome experience, right? Because no one's stopping you. You're busting through everything. You're making every shot you take. That's got to be fun. Coach, what stops these kids from getting to that point, do you believe?
There's so many distractions. There's so much other things going on in the world. I mean, I have a son too. He's much older than Emery. He's 28, but I tell him all the time. I said, what, you have to stay focused on your goals. Make small goals and try to reach those goals. Don't get me wrong. I love the way this world has developed. It's just that there are so many different things that can get you off track, and you could spiral down into a bad hole somewhere, and you can never recover. So that having that fear of failure, what I've been trying to put into my son and Emery and all the kids that I coach, that you got to stay on the straight and narrow. You're going to be tested. But you got to make really good decisions in life, and then once you start making those decisions, you start seeing the goals becoming obtainable, and you're on that right path, and you're going to succeed. And then you also have to be available for them. I tell every one of my kids, and Emery knows this too, that I'm here for them. I mean, I don't, even though you've done with high school and you're moving on, if you need to call me and talk to me about something or get some advice, I'm here for you. Because it takes I hate to say this, but it takes a village. It's not
It really does.
And my parents have didn't have a clue about all the coaching and the mentors that were in my life that helped me to be the person that I am today.
Emery, you better keep him on speed dial. For sure.
I will.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Emery, what, if any, has there been a time that you've become distracted? Do you have any time that you've maybe succumbed to some of those distractions in life? And how did you get out of that and get back to where you were focused in on where you needed to be?
Yeah, there was a time last year where I got into a situation that I shouldn't have. But then my parents and Coach Glenn and other people helped me out of it and just got me right back on the right track and got me back to where I am right now.
Was it when you realized what you could be losing or missing out on, how important was that to get back on track?
It was really important to me.
Yeah. Coach, when you see kids kind of start going down that road, what are some of the things that you find are effective in pulling them back out and helping them to kind of see? Because a lot of times teenagers in general, they want to do what's in front of them, right? They want to have fun. They're just teenagers. I mean, we all were teenagers once. We all did stupid stuff. And what have you found that's been most effective in kind of pulling them back and helping them to understand these actions or these have repercussions for a long, long time?
Well, sometimes you have to do something drastic. You have to do something that impacts them. I can tell you, for me, I was headed down that road, doing the wrong things. And the thing that turned me around was I joined the military. And when I got in the military, there was no one there to help me. It was you wash and dry your own clothes, you earn your money, you buy your own food, you do all those things. It taught me how to grow up quick, fast, in a hurry. I mean, there were days when I would get my money and I was still a little kid, and I would go out and blow all my money, and I'd go 2 days without food because I didn't have the money to pay for the food. And then I said, hey, wait a minute, I better start stopping all this partying and stuff, and I better start saving some money. And so it makes you grow up that way. And then with Emery, like I said, Emery's a sponge. He wants to learn, and like I said, we're gonna all get in trouble. I've gotten in trouble. Everybody gets in trouble. It's just that you got to have those people in your life, like his parents and myself, who I brought Emery here to the house. I just called him. I said, look, my house, 5 o'clock, be there. Don't give him the opportunity to say, hey, coach, I got this going on or that going on. You be at my house at 5 o'clock. And you let him know the seriousness of his nature and what he's doing and the path he's going down, and how it can, one wrong move can destroy everything for him. And I told Emery, I got a kid that I coached probably 12, 13 years ago that went down the wrong path and is currently still in prison because he chose to do the wrong thing. And, and then I showed Emery that relationship. I still write this kid to this day, but, just to know that he made a wrong decision, went down the wrong path, and he doesn't have the opportunity that Emery has to correct himself and keep going on the straight and narrow. He made a really poor decision, and the government made a decision for him. So, so I just I just brought Emery here to the house and put the fear of God in him.
Emery, did it work?
Yeah, it worked.
Well, I think the key here really isn't about what you did, but more about what you showed Emery and these boys and the other kids that you're around, and that love and that care that you showed them. And I think that more than the fear really resonates, because they need someone to know that they're seen. Emery, when you feel that, when you feel coach coming at you and saying, I care, I want you to be better than what you are, when you feel your parents pulling at you saying, I need you to be like this. What's that like for you? And what's that like for them to believe in you so much and to believe in your potential so much that they're willing to, for instance, your dad works nights, your mom works weekends. What's that like for you as an individual? Not just as an athlete or as a high school student, but just as a human being.
It just makes me like, it pushes me to become a better person, just like stay like good, stay out of trouble, and just like make them proud, you know.
That's neat to hear, because I think that, Coach, when you talk about these kids, it probably means a lot to you. I mean, they probably mean as much as or close to your own children or family. And it's not something that you forget. It's not something that you're going to just give away. And for you to give that care and that love to them, that has to mean something to them as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, I used to coach just for the coaching of it. Didn't realize I was going to be that type of person that was going to be mentors for young men. But I still get texts from kids that I've coached 15, 20 years ago that still check in with me and still say that, I turned their lives around, or I put them on the straight and narrow. And, and these kids, they need to have someone, I hate to say this, but they need to have someone other than their parents that show love and appreciation for them. Emery will tell you this. I get them in a circle in practice, and I'll tell them all as a group. I say, look, I love each and every one of you guys. I treat each and every one of you guys just like my son. So if you call me, you think you're getting in trouble in the middle of the night, just pick up the phone and call me, and I'll be there. And I hold myself to that. I don't care what time it is in the morning when they call me. If they need some help, I will be there for them.
And I can't even mention how many, or even imagine how many kids need that. Just to know that someone else has their back.
Yeah.
How much confidence, Emery, does that give you in your future and going forward, that you've got a coach that will do anything for you?
It gives me a lot of confidence. I feel like, because I know there's people supporting me no matter what. So it just helps me,
That's amazing. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you being here. You're a special part of this young man's life, and hearing your story and hearing what you've done for him, really exciting. Any last words that you'd like to give to Emery?
Yeah, first of all, I can imagine the hurdles that Emery's parents both had to go through to get out of a refugee camp and come to America and be successful like they are. They need to be commended for that, that struggle that they endured and was able to get over here and make a life for their children. I mean, I think that is phenomenal. They should be applauded for that. And I think they're doing all the right things. I enjoyed listening to their story, because I had no idea until today that they were in a refugee camp. I had no idea. And then to hear their story and see what they had to go through, and the struggle with still their families are still over there and they need to get them out as well. It makes my hurdles or things that I'm going through seem minuscule at best, because I can't imagine going through what they did to get Emery over here and to get him prepared for college and have him on that path to success. It's phenomenal.
Thanks, Coach. I really appreciate having you here. And before you go, I'd like to ask Emery's parents, was it harder to be in the camp, or was it harder to raise 6 kids? Which one's worse?
It's very hard to be in the refugee camp.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's hard to raise kids.
Maybe a little bit like this.
Yeah.
Well, again, Coach, we really appreciate you being here. You're a big part of his life, and so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Emery, let's move on. Last sport, track. Tell us a little bit about that. When did you start track? Was it 7th grade again?
Yeah, 7th grade as well.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what did you run in track? What did you start out with?
In track in 7th grade, I started out with the 200, and then I started getting to the jumping because I liked that. And I like doing the jumping more than the running because I didn't like running without without a purpose, you know, like
Without a ball?
Basketball, I have a purpose. Like,
Yeah.
So I just like kind of stuck to jumping mostly, and that was about it.
And did you do varsity once you hit high school? Varsity all 4 years, 2 years, same thing?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're now jumping. What events are you jumping in?
Long jump and triple jump.
And are you at state for both of those?
They had districts today, but I had a thing taken out of my leg about a week ago.
You're kidding. Tell me a little bit. What'd they take out? Anything taken out of a leg can't be good. Usually you want something put in or left there.
Yeah, I had a cyst.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had to get stitches, so I couldn't compete, tear them, or so.
Oh, and
yeah.
The cyst couldn't wait 1 week. No. Wow. Oh, so tell me, in track, what was your personal best?
My best was a 1910, so I was close to breaking 20 feet. That was my sophomore year, and then I got a little bit bigger, had to bulk up for football, so I lost a little bit.
Right. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've kind of buried this a little bit. Tell me what are you doing now, and where have you signed to go to college?
Right now, I'm getting ready and working out to go play football at George Fox University up in Newberg, Oregon.
Okay, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. And when do you have a signing day? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm signing this Saturday, actually.
This Saturday.
Yep,
this Saturday. That's fantastic. Where and is that going to be broadcast?
There'll be KMBT and Magic Valley News there, I think.
Now, are you signing with anybody else on your football team?
I'm actually signing with Brody Osen, my best friend, who got me into
Brody.
Yeah.
Why don't we have Brody on? He's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
Man, he's like your brother. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And what position does Brody play?
He's quarterback.
Quarterback.
So, yeah.
How fun. So he's going to be potentially throwing to you.
Yeah.
I like it.
Through high school, we were rivals too, because he went to the opposite school, Cambridge.
Oh, he did. I didn't realize. He went to, that's crazy. That is a lot of fun. How great would that be? Now, are you going to room with him?
Yeah, we're gonna be roommates.
Roommates. And when do you head off to college?
We will leave August 8th.
August 8th.
Yep.
Now, one thing that I don't think many people know is your schedule. You told me this a couple of days ago, and it blew my mind because as an adult, I don't even keep that kind of schedule with 5 kids. Tell me what your schedule is like. Just kind of lay it out for me.
Like throughout the week, Monday through Wednesday, I work out from 4:40 a.m. to 6 a.m.
That's a.m., people.
Yeah.
A.m. 4:45 a.m.
I come home, get showered, get ready for school, take my siblings to school. And then after school, I'd go to track practice. And then after track practice, come home, do homework, and then start it all over.
Ooh. And then what are you doing on the weekends?
On the weekends, I'm working at Chobani over there with my mom. So
Saturday and Sunday, is that correct? That's remarkable. It really is remarkable because how many of your friends or athletes work?
Not that many.
Not that many, right? Yeah. And why do you feel the need to work, even beyond what you're doing?
I don't know, just to feel like grow up a little bit, and just like my parents have pushed me to like keep working and working, you know, just push yourself, you know. So it's just like it's kind of natural just for me to do it.
It's fascinating. The work ethic that you have, the fact that you want to do those things. Charles, when you put him to work on the weekends, did he whine? Did he complain? Is he that kind of kid?
No, he doesn't complain. He
I'm sure my
understands
kids like to work.
because
He's a delight.
We're setting a good example. We're doing our best to see if we can be able to support our family, and so they are learning from us.
Charles, where did you get that from? Was it from your parents? Did they teach you that kind of integrity?
I learned that from my parents and some of my good friends.
That's amazing. This story just gets better and better and better as we talk. I'm always fascinated and just pleasantly surprised at the work ethic that you have, what you've came from, what you've become. You're going to be a doctor soon. How soon, Charles, are you going to be a doctor?
I don't know yet. I'm working on 4 more courses and a dissertation.
4 more courses and a dissertation. I mean, that sounds like a good book. 4 courses and a dissertation. Well, I really appreciate this. You guys have been just fantastic. Emery, you've got a super bright future ahead of you. George Fox are lucky to have you. You're going to do well with this work ethic, with the head that you have on your shoulders. It's just bright. It's just downhill from here. And I'm so excited that we get to be a part of that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of our initial presentation, initial interview. I've just loved every second. Any last words, Emery? Any last words that you'd like to leave with our audience?
I'd also like to thank another person before we get done with this. He's also
Certainly
in my life. His name is Joseph Kirshner. He's Brody's grandpa. He's basically my grandfather now, and just he's helped me throughout a lot with just growing up and stuff like that. So I like to thank him as well, their whole family.
Absolutely. Well, whatever Brody has done, we thank him. I mean, he's really seemed to have pushed you, and you pushed him. You seem like a good pair. But wow, really a great time tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for taking the time to meet with us and to get through my questions. I loved every second of it. Have a great evening, and Emery, do good. Be good. We're excited for you. You've got a whole community behind you, and we're really excited for you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. You have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.